hi to everyone.
Hi everyone and welcome.
I do also have Arif from Pmi Indonesia chapter and Brushank from Pmi Gujarat chapter as my co-host. Arif, are you on? If not, Brushank, you could introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Welcome to this session.
Yes. And Prashank, you want to take it forward?
Yeah, so welcome everyone on this session. And I will.
Okay, so we are unable to hear you, Prashank. I'm unable to hear you, Prashank. All right, Prashank, I can take it forward. So everyone, welcome to this Pmi chapter Xchange season 2, event 5. Today we are discussing AI and project management, as you see on the presentation on the screen right now. Just to let you know, we have Pmi friends joining in from Pmi chapters all across the globe. Indonesia, Gujarat, Zimbabwe, New Zealand, Phoenix, Czech Republic, South Africa, of course, Netherlands, Sri Lanka, South Florida, United Kingdom, Lima, Peru, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Southern Alberta chapter, Kenya, and Ghana. We do also have our supporting chapters who will be coming on in subsequent months. They are Pmi Greece, Pmi Poland. They are there today in this session, of course, but welcoming, onboarding them officially onto the platform would be in the subsequent months. Prashank, are you able to, does it work for you now?
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, we would like to please say hello to each other. And we have registrations from, we have 903 registrations from 51 countries, from USA to Australia, New Zealand, and all the countries and continents in between them. So thank you and thank you everyone for this warm response to this initiative. Can we post the menti.com code for everyone to enter?
Yeah. Yes, I've done that already. And we are getting a wonderful word cloud getting formed there. And it's so amazing to see people joining in from so many cities across the globe.
Perfect. Well, there is one information we would like to share. The meeting is being recorded. So if you are uncomfortable in any ways, you may choose not to attend. Whereas we are most welcome to continue with this meeting. Please make sure that your mic is on mute during the session. Your noise-making devices are put on silent mode as well. Everyone here in this event are speaking on their individual capacity. Our views do not represent our organization's views in any way. So over to you, Priya.
Yes. And as you see on the screen, we have Michael Liddy. He is the chapter platform owner of Pmi Global. And Mike is a member of Pmi Global staff and has been with Pmi since 2016. In addition to taking pride in being a global ambassador for Pmi and project management profession, he also serves as an SME for all Pmi resources and tools that you see today, including the chapter collaboration platform that we have been leveraging so heavily for communication and collaboration for this Pmi chapter exchange program. Mike is a graduate from Monmouth University and Roger Williams University and School of Law. And with this, Mike, I hand over the session to you to kickstart this 5th event of Pmi Chapter Exchange Season 2.
Thank you so much, Priya. And good morning, afternoon, evening to all of the amazing chapter members and chapter leaders and volunteers that we are collectively gathering with here today and that I am speaking to. In the run-up to the start of this meeting, I was noticing the registrations for attendees to this meeting, and it was absolutely overwhelming in terms of the interest and the passion that the past attendees and future attendees and current attendees have for this program. So I really want to congratulate Priya and her team on doing an amazing job of continuing this program to collectively bring chapter members, chapter leaders, and volunteers together to talk about best practices, the profession, the challenges, the success stories, and everything else that you've been talking about since the inception of this program. It really is impressive. I am honored, privileged, and completely humbled by the ability to be able to speak to you today. I know in the past, sometimes you've had this particular segment of the session filled by a senior member of our leadership team at PMI Global. I am not a senior member of the leadership team at PMI Global, but as Priya mentioned earlier, I do like to pride myself on being an ambassador to all facets of the PMI ecosystem and beyond from PMI Global. As Priya also mentioned, I have been with PMI Global now for 5 years. And prior to that, I worked a little bit in hospitality management and revenue management, as well as financial services. And I also do have a legal background. And going through that specific kind of unorthodox career journey to working for an association that promotes a profession such as project management, I was lucky enough and benefited from working with project managers long before I came to PMI. However, I didn't really understand project management as a whole. I had never heard of the PMBOK. I've heard of the PMP, but I didn't really know what the day-to-day life was like for project managers. And once I came to PMI and started interfacing with chapter leaders and chapter members and volunteers, I became fascinated with the topic and the profession myself. And I, for one, am really, really impressed by all the things that you do just in your day jobs, because some of you who are volunteers and also leaders at the chapter level, you have day jobs and careers, you have families and other obligations, in addition to all of the amazing things that you do for your local community and your local project management collective, if you will, to advance the profession locally in your countries and your regions. So it's really, really amazing to see, just even in the 5 years that I've been at PMI, what has been taking place from a transformational standpoint. I was very lucky to join PMI at the time that I did back in mid-2016, because we were just on the cusp of starting the planning for what is now a very large, holistic, global business and digital transformation through project management for PMI's business model. And I was able to see what I kind of call the tail end of PMI 1.0. And now I've been able to see how we've grown into PMI 2.0, the second generation of PMI after the first 50 years of amazing work in advancing the profession and promoting project management individually as well as within organizations. But now I'm really, really entrenched and working day and night with all of my peers, as well as some of you out in the PMI ecosystem, in building what we are very excited to call PMI 4.0. And you've heard a lot about this if you've attended some of the past PMI chapter exchange sessions from some of our senior leaders, such as Brantley Underhill or Ricardo or Dr. Srini as well. But 4.0 is a growth strategy and it is a rebirth of PMI to basically take its impact around the globe and 10 times that. That's 10 and a little x. And 10 times that impact, not necessarily in dollars and cents, but it's just overall impact from the perspective of lending itself to filling in these skill gaps that organizations and individuals sometimes tell us they are experiencing in their careers, as well as some of those organizations whose employees are giving that feedback to their leadership, and that feedback loop is ending with us at Global. So we are really excited to continue on this journey in 4.0. I know you've heard a lot about it. You're going to continue to hear a lot about it from people like myself and our communications team, and Sunil Prashara, who's our CEO, as well as the rest of the senior leadership around PMI. But it's, as we like to say at PMI Global, it's not going to be your father's PMI. It's going to be a rebirth, as I said, of what exactly it means to be a project manager and be associated with this amazing organization who have come so far, which has come so far. What you've seen in terms of how we plan to execute on this strategy and this rebirth, if you will, is a very large expanded product portfolio, as opposed to what PMI looked like maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago. You're seeing products come into the market right now that are fulfilling lots of different segments of areas where we've heard from market research partners, as well as our own data research efforts, and some of those in the PMI ecosystem, that there are specific gaps in which we can help people advance their career within their organization and individually. The ways we're doing that are such things as hyper agile products like Citizen Developer, problem solving techniques through Wicked Problem Solver. You're going to hear a lot more about that going forward from PMI, specifically on social media. We have an organizational transformation foundation product in the marketplace right now that was just launched early in the spring, around March. That is the product that we want to use to be able to give project managers and those who work in project management the ability to look outside the scope of their current trajectory in their career, and maybe consider the idea of being a transformational leader inside their organization, rather than just thinking that maybe being a director of a PMO is the ceiling and they can no longer go anywhere. So we're really working with a lot of diligence and a lot of excitement to expand this product portfolio, because we can see, as we say, there is a age range of 5 to 75 of individuals that we can help and expand beyond the PMP. And we're not getting away from our core stakeholder and our core customer. What we're doing is we're expanding that customer base and expanding that stakeholder base in order to grow and have PMI be relevant, not only 20 years from now, but another 50 years from now. And that's where chapters come in. We're going to need chapters to be able to, and chapter leaders to be able to lean in and maybe put a little bit more extra strength behind that already existing passion that they have for delivering value to their members locally, as well as globally, sometimes through programs like this. What we're doing right now is working through a lot of ideas and doing a lot of ideation around what we're calling the Chapter 4.0 strategy. And what that is essentially is, again, I'm going to use this word, rebirth. It's a rebirth for the relationship between PMI Global and chapters and their members. What we've noticed over the course of the last maybe decade is that there seems to be a little bit of a struggle amongst a lot of chapter members sometimes in terms of what the value proposition is for being a member at the chapter level, sometimes as opposed to being a member at the global level. And that is an opportunity, a huge opportunity for PMI to be able to supply chapter leaders with tools and content and lots of different ways in which we can collaborate and innovate and accelerate a new path for PMI chapters and chapter leaders and volunteers to continue to deliver value locally within their communities and to their members. So you're going to start to see a lot more communications around this particular topic in the second half of this year and well into next year in 2022. The pandemic certainly slowed down our path towards the Chapter 4.0 strategy. We would have loved to have started and accelerated this journey last year in 2020, but of course, most of the world was impacted, as well as PMI, by this pandemic. However, what you saw within the chapter space was nothing but thriving. Of course, some chapters, especially small chapters, very small chapters with smaller resources, had to pivot and maybe needed a little bit of help along the way to do some wondrous things in 2020. But overall, PMI chapters really stood up and met the challenge of what the pandemic was presenting to them in 2020 and pivoted to such things as all virtual events for the very first time. And through that, as an anecdote, essentially expanded their audiences beyond whatever their physical events were prior to that. So that's an amazing story of how chapters really stepped up to the plate and were impacted by the pandemic, but did not let it intimidate them, and obviously will not let it intimidate them going forward into the future. So I wanted to just leave you with a few thoughts from myself and some of my peers who I feel comfortable speaking on behalf of at PMI Global. We all thank you every day for what you do and all the work that you do and the passion that you bring to the profession, as well as maybe being a member or a volunteer or a leader locally at the chapter. Without you, there would be no PMI. As Sunil Prashar likes to say, PMI's chapters are our secret sauce. You're the reason why we are who we are, because we stand on the shoulders of 50 years of volunteerism. So please continue to bring that passion and that excitement to everything that you do. Please reach out to us and people like me. I will put my contact information as well as my LinkedIn URL into the chat there, and provide us with feedback in terms of what we can do better and where we can improve our efforts, and bring those innovative ideas to people like myself and our leadership team at PMI, because we can't do this alone. We can't be an island. We need all parts of the PMI ecosystem to reach these 10X goals, as well as to fulfill the mission of what PMI 4.0 will be. It's going to be an amazing journey. It's going to require a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it. And I also want you to think about what can PMI be to you in the future? How can you think differently for PMI and provide that feedback to us here at Global, or to people like Priya at the leadership level locally, to start thinking around how we can innovate and collaborate internationally, not just within smaller regions as chapters. When we combine collectively to deliver value to our members and our stakeholders and our cert holders, that's when PMI is really working at its best and making sure that the profession is advanced and that people are satisfied and happy as customers. So again, thank you so much for having me today. Thank you, Priya, for inviting me. This was an immense pleasure of mine, and I'm happy to connect with all of you going forward. And I wish all of you a wonderful weekend and a very well weekend going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing this amazing journey that PMI has embarked upon. And I like the fact that you said PMI is not your father's organization anymore. I hope it will be my son's as well as my grandson's organization going forward. And really, I like the future forward thoughts that you presented today to our chapter leaders and chapter members here. And we are really happy to provide our feedback and be part of this journey in whatever we can. Do reach out to us. We will surely provide the necessary feedback and the help that is required.
You have my support, so thank you very much, Priya.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And I will share my screen again. And I will hand over the stage to Pierre now to talk about the PMI chapter exchange and the journey that we have embarked upon.
Thank you very much, Priya. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
All right, thank you very much. So my name is Pierre. I'm PMI Chapter Exchange Liaison for PMI South Africa. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the program. So our vision with this program is to evangelize cross-chapter collaboration and encourage cultural diversity. So the program was started by 1 chapter, then 2, then 3, and then now, a little bit more than 1 year later, we are 19 chapters from 5 different continents. And thanks to the work delivered by all the chapters involved, we were able to put together today's event with now 900 registrations from 53 countries. So I'm not sure what your definition of fantastic is, but that's definitely fantastic. Pmi Chapter Exchange is all about teamwork. So we build on each other's strengths. And the outcome of our efforts is the monthly online events, as this one we're having today. And we also have an Insight Exchange Nugget, which is a document that we publish with all the takeaways and lessons learned from our sessions. And you can find this document by following the hashtag Pmi Chapter Exchange on all social media platforms, or by sending us an email on pmichapterexchange@gmail.com. So I just shared that with you in the chat. By doing this, we are building a community, sharing good practice and promoting good practices within and external to the program. And of course, yes, we grew not only in numbers, but in our sphere of influence through diversity and inclusion and equity of thought. So that's why you will notice chapters and speakers from diverse backgrounds participating in this program, because we truly believe diverse connections leads to innovative solutions. So that was for me. I wish you a very, very good event. And now I hand the floor back to Priya.
Thank you, Pierre, so beautifully explaining the program. And it took me back to May 2020 when we really started this entire journey. So thank you very much, Pierre, and South Africa chapter for the support that you have been providing to this program. All right, so it's time to welcome our newest chapter on this program, that is Pmi Ghana Chapter. And we have Jumuke, who is here today to speak about Pmi Ghana and why she chose to join this program. So a little bit about Jumuke. Jumuke is a proactive, result-oriented team player with 15 years odd experience in value chain process of market insight research and project management, of course. She is curious about people, markets, and brands. And I love this. When I asked her, how can I introduce you? She gave me her 5 strengths. Her 5 strengths are deliver, strong ethical principles, pushes her to not to simply write missteps off on excuses and rationalizations, name and reputation, drives her to be responsible for any commitment that she makes. So that was her first strength, delivery. The next one is analyst. And the third one is believer. Fourth is coach. And the last one is commander. So I will hand over the session to Jumuke right now so that she can talk about her 5 strengths, the Pmi Ghana chapter, and why did she think that it would provide value to her members by joining this program. So Jumuke, over to you.
All right, Priya, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the team. Thanks to the team for a job well done. You left one important one of my descriptions out. I love food. I love good food, and I have good appetite as well. So I'm the president of the Pmi Ghana chapter. The Ghana chapter is, as we say in Ghana, we say Akwaba, you're welcome. The chapter was chartered in 2011. In fact, Mark Langley, the then president and CEO of PMI, signed our charter as the first one he signed when he became president. And so we had a bond with Mark Langley then. And currently we have 5 branches across the country. So we have a chapter in the capital of the country, and then we have 5 branches across the country. Our vision is that nationwide organizations will value, embrace, and utilize project management and attribute their successes to it. And our vision is to promote the practice and the profession of project management in conscious and proactive manner. And this influences what we do, the decisions we take. Ghana is a population of about 3.31 million. We have 16 regions. In 2011, we had 76 members and 49 PMP certified. In 2021 now, as at this point, we are 788 members and 525 PMP certified. If you look at our GDP, we have 18.3% of our GDP in agriculture. That is farming, fishing, forestry. If you look at industries, 24.5% of our GDP. That is mining, manufacturing, energy production, construction, and so on. If you look at services, it's about 57.2% of our GDP. This involves government activities, communications, transportations, finance, and other private economics. So this is quite important that we have qualified, experienced, skillful project managers. And apart from sitting in a classroom to learn or to be taught what to do, we feel that joining this PMI Chapter Exchange program provides opportunity such as unique opportunity of cross-chapter networking opportunities. We already have some form of networking activities in Ghana. We have a form of networking activities in Africa. Now we are cutting across the world because now the world is a global village. And so this gives us an opportunity for our members to be able to network. Once you're able to mine this well, you make new friends. Aside making new friends and connecting on LinkedIn, which is exciting, you'll be able to understand new trends in other parts of the world, and you'll be able to integrate easily into the whole. Our members joining this exchange gives opportunity for collaboration of ideas, businesses, if it is well managed. It gives opportunity for co-creation. So we felt that, okay, we look at our members, out of which 67% of them are certified, out of which when you look at the PMI global members, we have outstanding of 84% of Ghanaians that are PMI global members but are not local chapter members. If you look at people that are not non-members, they keep searching PMI to get information, they are about 92%. So the chapter members is just about 8% of this whole. So there is potential. Once our members are able to take advantage and benefit from what the exchange offers, then we may use it as an opportunity to attract people to come to the fold, and thereby building the economy Ghana, building the economy Africa, and building the economic world at large. So this is why we joined the exchange, and I'm hoping my chapter members will take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Jumoke. That was so wonderful. And with this, I hand over the session to Sabi. And Sabi, a session moderator. A bit about Sabi. Sabi is an award-winning senior technology leader, assisting multiple diverse clients in their business transformation through project successes, through bolstering communications across various departments, and assisting customers in creating effective solutions to complex problems. And I trust me, he's been acknowledged by the world at large, by publications, industry peers, partners, colleagues, and institutions as an accomplished and a trusted creative thinker. He is an internationally recognized keynote speaker, and we have heard him a couple of times in Pmi Mumbai chapter as well, and many other conferences that I have been, also attending. And it is my privilege to know him as a keynote speaker, as a trainer, as a coach, and his speech engagements are really energetic, inspiring, lovely, and engaging. And you will experience it in a few minutes from now. So with this, Sabi, I hand over the session to you to introduce the speakers and to take this away.
Absolutely. Thank you, Priya, for such an amazing introduction. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. While we start the introduction, one of the most exciting and fun fact about me is I was born in the most perfect city in the world. So there you go. So here's the thing. So if you if you don't know the answer about the most perfect city in the world, you can go to Google right now and search on the most perfect city and put it in the chat box while I introduce or I ask the speakers to introduce themselves. So it's my privilege to have an amazing lineup of speakers here today on this panel about this interaction of artificial intelligence and project management. So let's start with introductions. I'm gonna go with ladies first. So Dr. Romano, please introduce yourselves, tell us about yourself, about your organization, and one fun fact about you.
Hello, everybody. It's a big pleasure for me to be here. I'm Professor Regiane Helva Romano from Brazil. I am an old woman who loves innovation, new technologies, new places, and meeting new people around the world. I'm currently working on a very interesting project called Smart Campus Facens. That is a prototype of a smart city inside the college where we develop many projects at the same time, implementing also artificial intelligence. It's a pleasure for me to be here, and I'd like to thank a lot for the invite and the opportunity to talk a little bit about what we are doing here in Brazil.
Thank you, Dr. Romano. Really appreciate it. I will go to Abraham.
Thank you, Sabi. So I am Abraham Kukusam from Ghana. I work for GIZ, the German Development Organization, as advisor for artificial intelligence for sustainable development in Ghana. Proud to that, I worked for over a decade in the telecom industry, worked for Ericsson and Huawei, working on projects in Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. I am also a co-founder and a board member of the Institute of ICT Professionals Ghana. And one fun fact about me, Sabi, my mom wanted me to be a medical doctor. I wanted to be a journalist, and see where I found myself. Yeah. So.
Abraham, I share that fun fact with you. My mom, she was a staff nurse, so she wanted me to become a doctor as well. So coming from India, either you become an engineer when I was growing up, or you become a doctor. Those were the two options. So I can very well imagine that. Thank you for sharing that fun fact.
Actually, I chose engineering school over medical school too. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Abraham. Okay, Vasudeva, welcome to the panel. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sabi. Hello all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Vasudeva. You all can call me Vasu. Okay, I come with around 23 years of experience, right from manufacturing to IT, and in IT different roles, starting with SAP consultant to project lead, project manager, delivery manager, and currently I head the delivery for data engineering for Robert Bosch and Engineering and Business Solutions. And previously I had worked in organizations like Wipro, Capgemini, and others. Happy to be associated with you guys.
Okay, Vasu, what's the fun fact, buddy? Come on.
The fun fact, Sabi, is very simple. I never read anything related to IT coding till now.
that is definitely fun. Well, thank you again for that introduction. I really appreciate it. So, Google CEO, what he said was AI is one of the most important things humanity is working on. It's more profound than electricity or fire. So in last so many years, we have heard about AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, but in simple terms, what do you think is AI? So Dr. Romano, you want to go first? What do you think you're working on these smart cities project. When people want to know about AI, what do you think AI is?
AI is important to support making decisions. So what we should do inside a smart city, we needed to collect many data from many eggs. Here at Smart Campus Facens, our project is taking care about 9 eggs. So we collect data about energy, urbanization, education, culture, environment, healthcare, industry and business, mobility and security, and all those data are going to our dashboards. In this dashboard, we are applying AI to support our making decision, so the mayors can understand how their cities are operating that moment, what they should take care, where are the money and where they needed to put money and effort to really provide a special services for the population.
Yeah.
That's what we are studying about AI. And in this project, we also are attending to our plan, IoT National Plan. That is a big project here in Brazil, and we needed to take care of Industry 4.0, healthcare, rural, and smart cities. So the data are very, very, very important,
Yeah.
and we needed to take care of all of that.
Oh boy, that sounds so complex, Dr. Romano. Okay, when I think about AI, I think about, Google Assistant or, Alexa, because they are hearing, they're getting their data, they are, modifying that. That is in simplistic term from my perspective. So I'm going to go to Abraham and say, Abraham, what do you think is AI in simplistic terms for you when you talk about AI?
Okay, so I would say that AI is getting computers to think like intelligent beings, getting machines to think like, so get a computer to think. Maybe in the beginning of AI, it was more to get computers to think like human beings, but now there is a big debate whether actually AI systems are smarter or going to be even smarter than human beings. So in simplest terms, that is the way I will explain what AI is.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Vasu, how about you? You are the person who actually is, this data is actually the food for AI, what I'm hearing, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
you deal with, that food part about that. So what do you think, if you have to explain to somebody in a simplest terms, what is AI? How would you explain that?
Yes. See, AI, artificial intelligence, refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. Right. The term may also be applied to any machine that exhibits traits associated with human mind, such as learning and problem solving. And AI involves using computers to do things that are traditionally required human intelligence. This means creating algorithms to classify, analyze, draw predictions from data. It also involves acting on data, learning from new data, and improving over time. Okay, with advancement of technology, we are already connected to AI in one way or other, whether it is through our mobile phones or through our healthcare service providers. Okay, and in currently the technology is gaining momentum, and more companies are investing resources in AI. So this is going to stay, and it is going to excel very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. When we think about AI, one of the fears which I've heard is it's going to take over our jobs, right? So Priya, can we put that Menti poll out there, which says, okay, what do you think? Is AI, artificial intelligence, is going to take over your job? So go to menti.com and use the code 6587-8914. Again, 6587 8914 to tell us, is AI, what do you think? Is AI going to take over your job? Priya, what kind of response are we seeing?
So we have 5 people who were saying no, and 1 of them said yes.
Oh, wow.
Now it's going to 12. Let me share my screen for 1 moment now so that
Yes,
you can
please.
see that. See the poll, of course. And here it is. Yeah. Are you able to see?
It's almost getting ready to share. So there.
Okay. So it looks like some people still think that, yes, AI could be a threat.
You know, it's interesting. It's amazing to see that. If I've done this poll maybe 3-4 years ago when AI wasn't that mature, right? When a new technology comes in, people have that fear that it's going to take over our jobs. And now what I see is totally a different trend, right? More and more people are saying, no, I don't think it's going to take over my job. What I'm hearing is that AI is an augmentation, right? It's going to help human beings to not take over our jobs, but help us in resolving some of those issues, right? Making sure, if I use Alexa for project management, it might offload some of those resources. It might give me, hey, Alexa, is my project going to meet my budget? And I would love Alexa to give me that answer for me. So good to see that this poll, that people are now not fearful about artificial intelligence taking over PM's job, but saying, okay, but there is still some concerns in there. I see 24 folks still, but 81, majority of those are saying, yeah, cool. Thank you, Priya, for sharing that. So, one of the big things which we are here to talk about is artificial intelligence and project management. When we talk about project management, we talk about herding cats, right? How easy and tough it is to herd cats. Herding cats are totally unpredictable, right? And I think AI can bring some predictability to this chaotic kind of project management. So my first question to the panelists is, let's start with Abraham. What is the impact of artificial intelligence in project management today? What do you think?
Yeah, AI is now having a huge impact on project management, but let me put a caveat. So depending on where you are located and the organization in which you work, there are different tools. So you may not actually see the impact more or less. But as we speak now, actually, according to Gartner, AI will eliminate 80% of all the manual project management tasks by 2030. And I think this is good news. So with AI can support project managers from handling different tasks during planning up until closing. AI also can help process complex project data and uncover patterns so that this affects like the quality of the project delivery. Then again, AI also can help in automating redundant tasks. So things that you do repeatedly that are boring and people do not like the drudgery involved. AI is actually a good tool to eliminate that. Then when it comes to offering solutions, so there are a few solutions in AI, and I'll just give a few, so maybe 2. So when you look at the pinball, for a lot of the processes, you need expert knowledge, right? So AI actually can offer you expert knowledge. So there are knowledge-based expert systems where you can put in the model tools can be trained actually to give you expert knowledge. Then the other thing is about chatbots. So Sabi mentioned Alexa and all that. So you can actually nowadays use chatbot to schedule your project meetings. So AI is doing quite a lot.
Yeah, cool, excellent. Vasu, what about you? What do you think is the impact of artificial intelligence on project management?
See, Sabi, AI will change how project management and the role of project managers will function in the future. That is for sure. Okay. The industry expert says by 2030, 80% of the current work of project management discipline will be eliminated, and AI takes on traditional project management functions, which typically includes like data collection, tracking, reporting, and other things. The role of project manager will shift from manager to leaders who are able to integrate AI capabilities into new practices and procedures, allowing for a greater focus on activities requiring especially soft skills such as ideation, communication, listening, and problem solving, along with emotional intelligence. So that's how I see, going forward, the impact of AI on project management, at least.
Thank you, Vasu. And Dr. Romano, you have been working on a AI smart cities related project. How has artificial intelligence impacted your project?
It's very important for us because we can collect many data, and we, with artificial intelligence, can accelerate the answers. And we can support the decision making, look to the dashboard and understand what is going to happen. If you rain a lot, if we have many traffic, if we have many cars on the road, how many accidents we can prevent, how can we collect with the healthcare management inside the city. So AI for us, it's a very, very important issues. And I think that with the PMO, they can connect each other and automatize and reduce the time to do something important and save lives.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Romano. According to a study by Project Management Institute, PMI, 91% of organizations are being impacted by the disruptive technologies, which is happening right now. Michael mentioned about 10x. So not only project management field is changing with the impact of AI, but disruptive technologies, digital transformation. This is also, making organizations to change as well, right? So Michael talking about, it's not going to be the father's organization. It's going to be son's or daughter's organization, right? So it's changing at a fast pace. So that means, you need to bring different skill sets as a project manager. Vasu talked about emotional intelligence. So Priya, can we do a quick Mentimeter poll for the folks? What kind of skills do you think, team members, to become an effective project leader? What are the skills? Don't think about artificial intelligence, but think about what are the skills you think will make you an effective project manager? Again, menti.com, code is 6587-8914. And Priya, please share your screen.
Yeah, actually, people have already taken the poll. I'm sorry, but that's fine. Let me share my screen once. There are lots of inputs that are coming, which is amazing. Let me. Where is it gone? Yeah, there it is. Yes. So I had advanced the slide, and people have already started taking the poll. Yeah, there it is.
Let's see. It's still sharing on my screen, so hopefully it shows up pretty quickly. Oh, wow. Okay. So what skills do you think will require to become an effective AI project leader? A lot of responses coming in, 34. Come on, folks. We have what, Priya, 350 plus folks on this call, right? So
445 already.
445, at least 100. We need at least 100 folks to go to menti.com and use the code 65878914. What score do you? Yeah.
Sabit, looks like communication is something that people think is very important because that's a big one there, right, in the middle.
Yeah, but I see that, but it's interesting, when we look at artificial intelligence, they can actually help you with communication. So I will think, that it will take away that skill set away from a project manager, right? So that will be an interesting conversation. So Alice, this is the question I'm going to ask you. Why do you think is, people are saying communication will make them an effective AI project leader, while Vasu, you were talking about, emotional intelligence and empathy. I was thinking that's going to make, a little bit more effective project leaders. So Vasu, why don't you start with you? There are so many. Artificial intelligence helps with communication, right? If, let's say, you are going into a Zoom call, they can transcript all your audio, what you're talking about. So PMs can take those notes, don't miss it. It's helping out, right? So what do you think, why not emotional intelligence, or why communication?
So Sabi, communication is not about only meetings, right? Communication is about stakeholder management. Communication is about legal and regulatory knowledge, negotiation skills, complex problem solving, ability to make data-driven decisions. So definitely, I mean, the audience are right. Communication is one of these skills required going forward, because the mundane task will be taken over by AI. So they need communication skill in terms of legal and regulatory, negotiation, security and privacy knowledge, stakeholder management, collaborative leadership, and complex problem solving. So absolutely, they are spot on.
Perfect. Abraham, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
Just to add a bit to what has just been mentioned, I think he gave an excellent answer, but I think communication will still be very important, and then it is not going to change. And for everybody on this call, if you are a PMP and you are asked the number one task of the project manager and you don't mention communication, then you are in trouble. But in going forward, it is not going to change, because what AI is going to do is that it is going to give us insight, and somebody has to communicate that insight. So communication will still be tops. But I also think that as project managers going forward, we should be adaptable, because the technology landscape is changing very fast. Even within AI, the change is very fast. And so you need to be ready to learn and unlearn and relearn. That is very important. You should also be able to motivate your team, because once we take away the mundane task, then you need to motivate your team to think about higher goals and smart way of achieving the goals. And you realize that once you take away the mundane task, some team members will also need to actually be trained and retrained to be able to take on higher roles. Okay, so, and then we need to be technologically savvy, because you should, if you want to be an agile project manager in this day and age, then if you are technology savvy, then you can jump between project from project and not feel too moved out of your comfort zone, because all the projects you have now, whether they are in health, agriculture, oil and gas, marketing, they all have technology components. Then we also need to develop some research skills, because with AI also comes the question of different directions, different things. The data, depending on the data, you can have different outcomes, and you need to actually understand what the data is saying. So you need to understand your field well, and it requires a lot of learning. And then finally, it has been mentioned, issues about regulation. So we need policy knowledge. knowledge about data protection, data privacy, and the like. Thank you.
Wow, Abraham, there were so many questions which were coming to my mind while you were saying that. I'm going to hold on to that. I need to go to Dr. Romano and get her thought on this word cloud which is out there, right? What comes out to you? Like, what do you think about this?
I miss one important word that is you needed to have too much ethical, because you will access everything. So ethical for me, it's the most important word in this moment, because if you don't have ethical, but you communication very well, the humanity will be in trouble. So ethical for me is something that the leaders must think and must age with it. So I always talk to my students, don't do wrong things, because you are going to have access for many data that can change a life of many people. So take care, be ethical, be serious, be human, because we can't do wrong things with the access that we will have with the AI. So I'm very worried about this. And I couldn't find the ethical in all the words here. I tried to find. Yes, I'm agree. We need to have emotional intelligence. We need to be a leadership. We need to be empathy. We need to have critical thinking. We need to solving problems, but before everything, we must be ethical.
Absolutely. You know, ethics and project management is very strong feel in there, and as a project manager, it's our role to be the leader in being that ethical, and we're going to continue to play that role, I believe, with artificial intelligence and project management. One of the things which came to me or hearing from you is data, right? We're talking about so much data that need to be analyzed. You know, now these artificial intelligence, they are powered by algorithms, right? And these algorithms, they learn as they go, and as they digest more and more data, they're gonna give us some business intelligence. And so my question, you know, Vasu, you are the expert in that. Can you share your thoughts on the evolution of artificial intelligence from business intelligence, from the data perspective? And you're on mute, I believe. And Priya, we can take this screen down now. Thank you. That looks amazing.
Able to hear me now?
Yes, Vasu, please. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So in a simple terms, if we see the evolution of business intelligence into artificial intelligence and plot it against a degree of intelligence in x-axis and business value in y-axis, everything started with the standard reports because of adaptability of each organization into digital assets. Everything started with the standard reports, which used to address what happened. But slowly, since because of the new products in the market, the things moved into ad hoc reports, which used to address how many, how often, where, and so on. Later on, further it moved into where exactly is the problem in the form of drill down query reporting, then to alerts, which typically says what actions are needed for those problems. So these four things is in an industry, it's called all about business intelligence. Later on, as industry matured, the data got more and more rational, and business analytics kicked in, where statistical analysis, which says why this is happening, then moved into forecasting. What if these trends continue? Then into predictive modeling, what will happen next? And to the optimization that says what's the best that can happen, which is nothing but the area of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is the complete evolution, right, from your standard reports of a typical IT systems to artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is a current buzzword.
Absolutely. That's, when I think about giving my exam for PMP, right? At that time, there were even in risk assessment, you do Monte Carlo simulation. That comes to my mind, right? That predictive kind of analysis. So I see some questions being posted here. Thank you again for the participants for engaging with us and giving us some of those questions. One of the questions is, what is the right approach to identify AI use cases and implement them in an organization struggling with digital transformation? So, let's unpack that a little bit, because there's so much in there. First of all, what is digital transformation? There's so much going around. Who wants to go with take on that question first? What do you think is a digital transformation?
It's what the COVID done with us. One day we come out of the bed and saw a different world. Everything got digital.
Yeah.
Now we have telework, teleeducation, telemedicine, tele, everything. So we needed to transform. Digital transformation is related to change your business to a new world.
Yeah.
I always worked with retail also. And inside retail, we can understand this perfect, because the customers wanted to buy in many channels. They wanted to buy at the mobile phone, they wanted to buy in stores, they wanted to buy at the website, and we needed to integrate everything.
Yeah.
And it's the same now. All the industry, all the business needed to do a digital transformation, where we should put the customer at the center, or the citizen at the center, the student at the center, and do everything that you can to improve the customer, the citizen, the student experience.
Yeah.
So digital transformation at the end is to give some different situation that you can improve the experience of your customer.
Absolutely. You're so right, Dr. Romano, on that. We talk about digital transformation. It's not actually digital transformation. It's business transformation using digital skills, right? So we have to make sure that we put customer right there in between when we are talking about tools and technology, because we all know, right? So no tools and technology will solve a problem until you have right processes, right people in place. So make sure we put customer in there, we put people in there, we put processes in there. What do you think about that? Yeah.
Technology is a mean, not the end. So we needed to understand that.
Absolutely. So, that is a good segue to ask another, going to that question, what kind of, maybe Abraham or Vasu, if you can take this question, what kind of AI use cases folks should be looking at? What is something like low-hanging fruit an organization can start with who's already struggling with digital transformation?
So, Sabi, again, there is, let me take it. There is no direct answer to it.
Yes.
Okay. In a typical journey of AI projects, everything starts with a POC. Okay. So it's all about, it's all about proof of concepts. Because see, I think I have to make it very clear. AI is not a project. Okay, it's a journey. Okay, it's a collaborative journey between business, IT, and all relevant stakeholders. Right. So the straightforward answer to this question is there is nothing called which is readily available, readily made. Okay, it has to be evolved along with the different stakeholders, and it has to be taken as a journey. Because people have to remember, in lot of cases, you may not get the required results at the end of the project or program. So you have to be cognizant about it. you should be willing to invest, you should be willing to try and evolve over the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the way, at least that's the way currently AI projects are getting executed.
Yeah, that's very interesting because AI sounds so sexy and so cool. You don't need to do that just because it sounds sexy and cool. Look, talk to your business. See if there is actually a problem which AI can solve, right? AI is not that magic button which you will switch on and it will solve all your problems. There is so much complexity which goes behind the scene to make it happen, right? Abraham, thoughts on that?
Yeah. Yes, Sabi. So I would just add a few words to this. So I want to ask a rhetorical question. Who pays for this AI for transforming the organization?
Yeah.
So we should always link the use of technology in transforming our organization to what the client expects from us, because the client is going to pay. Because once there is no way to fund it, then it's a problem. So for me, I think that I will refer the organization back to the chapter on stakeholder management in the PMBOK. They can go back to the stakeholders and then find out what the changing needs are. And then out of that, they can build the use cases. Actually, there is one project I am working on is Open AI for Agriculture. And in building a use case, we've gone back to farmers, farmer associations, to exporters, processors of agri products, marketers, to financial institutions providing loans to agriculture organization, and ask them what the challenges are. And out of that, we get experts to create the use cases. And I think this is the best approach because in the end, the client is going to pay for the digital transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. So right in that. One of the things when I see project management, and if you look at PMI, they have that talent triangle, right? You have technical project management skills, you have leadership, you have strategy. So if we are forcing the future, right, we're looking into the future, maybe technology project management skills are where technology comes in. Those are the things which AI can augment humans, right? But when it comes to leadership, when it comes to strategy, right, that's where I think a project management leadership can come into play and say, what kind of data can you show me which will help me to strategize my decisions, right? Where I can go with that? What's the future look like? How can I be more effective in implementing that strategy? So another question which was posted in the chat is, what's the future looks like for project management? What kind of jobs, right? We talked about data skills. So do project managers now have to have better understanding of data so that they can decipher that data, or can they still be that generalist, right? So what kind of skills a project manager should be developing for future? So Abraham, you want to take that first, and then I will go to Vasu and Dr. Romano.
Yeah, okay. So one of the things that I am convinced about, and a lot of research points to that, is that the future of work would actually be influenced by AI, digitalization, and automation. And so for me, the advice I will give fellow project managers is to actually try, and apart from understanding the technicalities of how to manage a project, they need to be a bit technology savvy. And then in addition to that, there is also the concept of AI and X. So AI and X actually just tells us that in every field, AI and digitalization for that matter is going to influence that field. So whichever field you find yourself, try and at least make sure you are technologically savvy, make sure you understand the new technologies, at least enough to take decision and enough to get involved in a conversation and enough to guide your team. You
Absolutely.
don't have to be an expert in these
Yeah.
disruptive technologies, but you need to know enough to help you do your work.
Yeah, that's a great point, Abraham. One quote where I have here is from Mark Cuban. He is the owner of National Basketball Association's Dallas Maverick. He's a Shark Tank investor who once said, whatever you are studying right now, if you're not getting up to speed on deep learning, neural networks, et cetera, you're going to lose, right? So we are going through this process where software will automate software and automation will automate software, right? So interesting dynamic. So yes, you need to build that skill set. You don't need to be an expert, but you need to have that knowledge about deep learning, about artificial intelligence, neural networks, and so on. What are your thoughts on that?
See, Sabi, just to add on to what Abraham told, see, both AI and project managers go hand in hand. That is the future. Okay. The project manager definitely requires to have right skill set to be able to manage AI. And AI is definitely will be non-productive without the input of a skilled project manager.
Yeah.
Because AI as a construct, it has to learn. Right?
Yeah.
So who will teach AI? It is a skilled project manager who teaches AI.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So it is very clear both will go hand in hand in future and both will coexist. And they cannot work independently. They have to be together to have that success.
That's great. Thank you, Vasu. Dr. Romano, what are your thoughts on that?
AI will be in everything, and it's not a new technology. We needed to remember that AI is very, very, very old technology.
Yes.
Old. When I was a young girl, long time ago.
Don't say that. Don't say that, Dr. Romano. You look young
but
right now. Come on.
No, I'm old. AI, it was everybody was talking about AI. What will be the future?
Yes.
We are going to lose our jobs. We are going. Yeah, I'm so sorry to tell you that you needed to study forever.
Yeah.
AI will be one of the technology that are inside the business. For example, IoT is one technology that is impacting industry, logistics, trade, public services, finance, smart cities, energy, transport, agriculture. And why? Because we have technology embedded in everything. So we will need to learn, to unlearn, and to learn again every time.
Yeah.
So I always talk to my students, don't stop to study, because what you are studying now, you are going to use for next year, if it's too much. So we need to study all the time. That is why I love education, and I think that we need to learn and to teach people to understand that ethical technologies will be our, how can I say, we are going to use this every time, every day, every hour. So it will be very important that our children start to learning right now computer inside the schools. They needed to learn another language. They needed to be open to the new technologies, because that is what we are going to face nowadays.
Absolutely. You talked about your project, right? The IoT Brazilian project, which has the power to transform the society, right?
Yes.
In terms of social and other needs. Can you talk a little bit about that? What kind of transformation are we looking at here?
Yeah, it's a Brazilian plan, IoT. It was made by Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation 1 year ago. And what this means, we are going to change everything here in Brazil. We are studying how we can do digital transformation of the society in Brazil. So we are changing the education. We are trying to get the students that are inside the universities now to change their mind and to learn new technologies because they will need this to survive at the market. With the COVID-19, the digital transformation was accelerated. So now we have no time anymore. We will need to have new business models because we need to change our mindset. We needed to find a new vaccine, and vaccine needed to use AI to accelerate this finding. So AI will help us in everything. And they created the National IoT Plan because we understand that we needed to get the data, we needed to learn to understand the data, to transform the data, and after that to apply AI to get the better decisions inside of this. That's what we are doing here.
So I know we are short on time, but we have heard so many good things about artificial intelligence. Let's go to a little bit on the darker side, shall we? So many benefits. What are some of the pitfalls on the negative sides of artificial intelligence? Dr. Romano, since you have been talking about that, you're much more engaged. Why don't you start with that? What do you think are some of the dark sides of artificial intelligence?
Oh, thank you. I think that if we don't have ethics, if we don't have a policy, we will be in trouble. Why? Because the people can't understand the power of the social media nowadays. Here in Brazil, everybody is at the social media. They put their lives for free and totally open, and they can't understand that it's a business behind of this.
Yes.
And if we put AI on this, we can manipulate many people because we can see that happening now with the COVID, for example, around the world, not only here, around the world. So I am very worried with this because if we put all the data on the one hand that can decide what I will do, what I want to do, what I will want, what I don't want, they will make us like a player in their hands. So I'm very worried with this. We need to take care of this.
Absolutely, Dr. Romano. That is scary. Definitely, I'm seeing a lot of those manipulations going in social media where those, people have been asked to upload their pictures and how are you going to look old? That's a great example. Millions of people just uploaded their image right there, and boom, you are at risk right now there. Vasu, what do you think are some of the dark sides of the AI? You work with data could be manipulated. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just as our colleague said, it's about data privacy and security. It's the biggest threat. And I will add a couple of points along with that. One is in terms of trust deficit, because nobody believes what will be the end results, and also limited knowledge because it's new. And as you rightly said in previous discussions, everybody wants results on a switch of a button, which is not possible. And also there will be a bias problem because again, since it is new, not tried and tested in a very big way, people will get biased very quickly. And the last thing is it requires enormous computing power.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a power hungry area. So
yeah. No, that's a great point, Vasu, regarding bias, right? So when we look at who are the folks who are actually writing these algorithms, right? So who are the folks who are actually building these workflows for these machines to understand? Those are humans, at the and we as humans are biased. So there is a big problem in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion in all these companies who are building these algorithms. So we don't have representation from women, a person of color, a woman in technology. So it's those algorithms are going to be a little bit biased. So great point, Vasu. I really like that. Ibrahim, what are your thoughts on the dark side of AI?
Yeah, so I think that Vasu mentioned it. I share the same opinion, that is security, privacy, but I want to take it from a different angle. So, usually when people are arguing with you and they want to tell you that their point is the right one, they tell you that, so maybe if they make an argument with and quote a book, then they tell you that book doesn't lie, right? So now it is becoming the internet. So even if it's fake news on the net, then say this is the evidence. So it is the truth. So we have to look at AI carefully so that we doesn't get to the point where models churn out some figures or data or information and we say, okay, so this is perfect because it's an AI model giving us this. We need to know that for every problem we want to solve, we need to be specific in finding the problem, looking for the right data, and then have the domain knowledge to interpret the information. So these are actually also challenges with implementing large-scale AI projects. Then the issue of data, I am worried because I come from Africa where we are among the poorest of the poor in the world. All the data we have in the world are that you can get great insight from our proprietary data from big multinational companies, usually in North America. Now, what is going to happen to the young man in Ghana who is studying computer engineering or statistics or computer science who has a startup that is growing? How can they also have access to data? Because as big multinationals hold data, the cost of data become even more expensive. And so we need to start encouraging building of open data sets. Actually, it is the reason why I left the private sector to join the international development sector, where there are organizations like there is the Lacuna Fund, which is building open data sets so that people in low and medium developed countries can also have data to churn out innovative solutions. Then there is the issue of talent. If we are not lucky, there will be a huge talent gap. And the West will start attracting all the little talent we have from Africa and from India. They will move to North America and Europe in droves because if we cannot pay them well, we cannot help them grow, then they will look for where they can get better job, better salary, better standard of living. So it's an even bigger conversation around what we do in our countries to let the talent stay. And then finally, the issue of trust. So we have to look at things around ethics, privacy, and what have you. Gender bias, it is very important.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, those are so important points, Abraham. Data privacy. All these tools. These machines. They're listening to you, right? This Alexa, this Siri. They're always listening to you. And this happens to me all the time. I'm having a conversation with my wife about something, and suddenly in my email I will see that ad, that, hey, you need to buy this. I was like, oh my God, this is scary, right? So although it's good that it's reading and it reminds me that, hey, my wife told me something to buy, I better go and buy it, right? On the other side, it's scary that, the privacy is not there anymore. I know we have just last 4 minutes remaining in that. I want to give, last minute to each of you for all the folks who are on this, who are attending this. One tip, you want to leave these project managers with, saying, hey, this is where you can start to become an effective project manager and start leading these AI projects. What's that one tip you would like to give them? So open to all of you. Who wants to go first? Take a shot.
Okay, so I will go, sorry, I will go back to my previous point on the skills that project managers need. And I'll say that in this time and age, you need to be adaptable. Don't stay in your comfort zone. Continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Absolutely. Be adaptable. The speed of change, which you see right now, is the slowest you will ever see, right? It keeps increasing. Great point, Abraham. Thank you for sharing that. Vasu, I know you were trying to say, so
let me go next. Okay, so this for all the project managers, please have the right skill to able to manage AI. That's all.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you, Vasu. Keep it simple. Guys and gals, have that right skill set if you want to lead those project management and you want to be that successful project manager. Thank you. Dr. Romano, last wise thoughts.
Ethical.
I could have guessed it. I could have guessed that, right there. Be ethical, be smart about it, and be very careful. You need to put good ethical practices in place. So thank you again, for joining me on this panel. I had an amazing conversation. I hope you all enjoyed this conversation. Please feel free to provide the feedback. I know Priya has posted the feedback link in there. We would love to hear from you. Connect with us on LinkedIn, and we would love to have this conversation with you there. Over to you, Priya. Thank you.
And with this, over to you, Arif, for wrapping up and a word of thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much to our panelists for this discussion today. Allow me to summarize a little bit of our session on artificial intelligence and project management. So AI has been with us actually for quite some time now and will be around for many more years to come. Using a large amount of data will be important to accelerate changes towards greater benefits for everyone, no matter your organization. Right? And from our quick survey, it was interesting to see that almost 80% of our attendees are actually not so concerned that AI will take over our jobs. And the remaining 20% still have some doubts, but they are right in a way, because certainly around 80% of the routine PM tasks will be eliminated somehow, right? But it does not mean that the PM role will disappear, because there are skills and good judgments that cannot be replaced, like leadership, critical thinking, and most importantly, ethics, which will prevent the dark sides of AI, such as privacy violation and unethical business practices. So despite the already seen and the promised benefits of AI, we have to remember that somebody needs to invest in these innovative solutions, and that is our customers, whether they are a business entity or a government entity. And this is where we need to manage the expectation. AI is not like a project that has a clear end to it. It is a journey, and it's probably going to be a long one, because at the moment there is no off-the-shelf AI package that is plug and play. Everything will require some customization, tailoring, and more importantly, training. And this is why the project management role will be a key stakeholder to train these AI systems to really bring its full value. And for those who are just starting out or thinking about exploring the artificial intelligence sphere, don't hesitate, because there will be a shortage of talent. There already is right now. And tech savviness will be a key also for you to be able to cross different industries and really accelerate the benefit realization of AI. Thank you, Priya. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Arif, for this wonderful wrap-up. And everyone, I'm sharing my screen again, I hope. Yes. Everyone, don't forget to take the feedback. The link has been put on the chat window. You can either scan the QR code or take the feedback by clicking on the link that is there on the chat window. The PDU code is shared on the screen. You will get a PDU mailer as well by Monday with all the details and how to claim this PDU. It has to be self-claimed. And please do share, take the feedback, share topics that you would like to hear in our subsequent events. And with this, I would like to thank Sachin and Tushar for your help as WebEx admin in making this event as smooth as ever. Thank you, Larry, for the flyers. And thank you, Tamike, our chapter leader from Sri Lanka, for the social media post. And everyone, thank you very much for attending the session. Be safe and see you again next month. Right. Thank you. And Tamike, if you want to take a group photo again, we can switch on our cameras and take a good group photo, and then we can wrap it up. Yeah. Let us know when we are done. I have to stop sharing my screen.
Priya, can you remove the screen share? Yeah, screen share.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Everyone, give your beautiful smile so Tamike can take a good snap.
Let's do double hands. That will be fun if you can do that. There you go.
And Savvy, are we having the selfie savvy contest today as well?
I should have done that, right? Take a selfie with me, post it, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, that's only for, when I'm doing my individual speaking engagements, we'll do that. But again, thank you again. It was a great discussion today. And Arif, man, you just nailed it with your summarization, man. I want you on my team all the time, man. You did a great job.
Arif, can you take a picture from that end as well? I'm having some issues with loading.
Let's do one more time then.
Yeah, Arif, can you take a picture from there?
Vishank, where are your hands, buddy? Come on. Here, come on. Hands, buddy. Yep.
How do I make this? Sorry, I don't know how to make this into a tile. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I got it. Everything's in control.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, thank you very much, and see you again next month. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.